So what tree should we get for this Christmas? The perfect Christmas tree. Now it's time to put some presents underneath it. Merry Christmas. When people start mentioning or talking about Christmas, they either have this bright, starry-eyed look or the look of sheer terror at the mountain of things they need to accomplish to try and make this Christmas more special than the last. Why is this Christmas tree already up in our lounge room? It's only August. Look, it's been a really long year. We need something to look forward to. This video aims to put the merry in Merry Christmas and suggest some really cool board games to satisfy any gamer this festive season. Everdell. If you're going to put up one tree in your house this Christmas, let it be this one. Everdell is a worker placement, card drafting, tableau building game where players are creating their own civilization in the world of Everdell. Why not celebrate this Christmas, critter style? Like the lighting of the Christmas lights in a tree in town square, Everdell has you constructing your very own board game Christmas tree with its very own animeeple inhabitants. In Everdell, players are sending their little animal minions out into Everdell to gather resources such as berries, pebbles, twigs, and resin to help build various constructions in their own mini village. Players will be building construction cards and critter cards from the meadow as well as from their hands. Players are essentially attempting to build a little engine, empire in fact, as each construction card built has its own unique combos and effects. There is immense synergy between the cards because certain construction cards are paired up with certain critter cards, and if you already have that construction card built, you can play the matching critter for free. Across the seasons, players will gain additional workers, and as players' tableaus evolve, they'll be able to harness the power of their civilizations to maximize their prestige points. Everdell is one of my favorite worker placement card management games. Seeing the really cool combos and seeing how the construction and critter cards work together and synergize well together really allows you to visualize how your civilization is growing. Exploring the different synergies between the cards and how different trigger effects really occur amongst the different 5 card types that appear in the Meadow deck is really cool for exploring from game to game. And the worker placement aspect of the game at the 4-player level is really competitive, especially if you're trying to garner some resources that are well and truly needed to help you build your village. Calico. Calico is a pattern-building spatial puzzle game that looks like a perfectly wrapped-up Christmas present. For fans of cats and quilts, this game mixes up pattern collecting and colour matching to the very extreme. Now, isn't this cat so adorable that you just really want to cuddle up right next to it? Across a game of Calico, players are going to be competing against each other to build the most psychedelic and kaleidoscopic quilts any grandma without a sewing machine could ever make. Players will be selecting tiles from this very simple market and attempting to complete 3 design goals on their quilt. These goals can be completed by following this alphabetic coding that highlights how many different colours and or patterns needs to surround the design tile. Additionally, players are attempting to sew a range of coloured buttons like some sort of Mardi Gras, only if they at least have 3 of the same coloured tiles connected together. Players can also use the patterns on the edge of the board to assist them. Calico is so endearingly cute that it's almost like you're asking your grandmother for another woolen cardigan. If players have collected all 6 coloured buttons, they'll get this Willy Wonka Gobstopper Rainbow Badge of Honour. No, not this one. This one. Now, if you are a cat lover, you can also entice a range of kitties to your quilt. By creating one of the preferred shapes using one of the 2 preferred patterns, players can place these cute little cat tokens on their quilt. I hope I just didn't let the cat out of the bag. The player with the most victory points wins the game. Each decision that you make throughout a game of Calico is interesting, methodical, and puzzly. When deciding to play a tile from your hand, your brain goes into overdrive as it tries to visually position that particular tile in multiple places on your quilt. It's like fitting a hexagonal Tetris piece on a plane. Fittingly, each game of Calico feels like you're wearing a warm woolly jumper, and the feel of it touching your skin as you sew each tile onto your beautifully made quilt in a permanent fashion. By the end of the game, you'll step back, look at your quilt, and your quilt will tell a story about how it came together through the different poor decisions that you made, as well as the really good decisions that you made in this beautiful, elegant appearance. Cartographers. Want to go travelling this festive season without the risk of getting COVID? Well, Cartographers is the perfect travelling game for you that doesn't require a passport. Like a band of elves looking to expand Santa's capitalist empire, Cartographers enlists you, the help of the players, to scope out new land, territories, resources, and places to settle. So settle in as I take you on a Christmas journey into the world of the Flip and Write games. Hey dude, do you want to play a brand new Flip and Write game called Cartographers? What are you doing? Flipping and writing this next skit? Across each game of Cartographers, players will be scoping the northern lands by filling out this multicolored shopping list of shapes. Each season, cards will be revealed providing players with a choice, usually between two different terrain types and a shape. Using coloured pencils, players draw their chosen shape onto their map by flipping or rotating it. Players are doing this to satisfy two objectives per season, as outlined in this very woody Christmas-like scoring objective area. If a player surrounds a mountain on their player map, they get to colour in one of these coins like some sort of scratchy or lottery ticket, earning them victory points from round to round. Additionally, if a ruins card appears, players are forced to colour their next terrain shape over a ruins icon on their map, restricting where they can build. Additionally, if a goblin card is revealed, players have to swap maps and mess up their opponent's beautifully laid out plans, and if positioned correctly, can earn negative victory points to that player. Like a trip around the North Pole, the winning player is the one who has charted the land effectively and thus gained the most victory points. Cartographers is a super charming game that was nominated for the Spiel des Jahres in 2020. Its appeal comes from the variability of the different objectives that appear from game to game, which influences the types of maps that players make, and also the decisions that you make as well. One map might focus on chaining forests together and linking them to different mountains, whereas another map might focus on clustering villages together to maximize the victory points that are scored. It is definitely one of the better roll or flip and write games out there, and once you finish the game, you can save your map or use it in a D&D campaign, or even use it and recycle it as spare Christmas paper wrapping. Fort. Better way to spend Christmas than with the family and the kids building a fort out of the empty Christmas present boxes that were open on Christmas Day. Fort is a deck building card game where players take on the role of kids, attempting to build the biggest and coolest fort possible in their neighbourhood with their best friends, with the aim of claiming the macaroni sculpture first and garnering the most victory points possible, as well as being the most popular kid in town. The game Fort has players recruiting their best friends like some sort of back alley Christmas elf gang. The aim here is to upgrade their fort level to level 5 as quickly and as efficiently as possible by building an efficient deck and trading in toys and pizza. Cheesy. On a player's turn, they have the pleasure of becoming the leader. They play a single card from their hand, triggering either the top, which is the public, or bottom, private action, or both actions together. This might involve ordering some pizza, trading in for the latest toys, adding copies of your opponent's stuff, paying resources to increase your fort level, adding cards to your lookout zone, trashing cards, or scoring automatic victory points. The beauty of playing a card is that an action that displays an X on it can be boosted by discarding cards with a similar suit, including the icons on the cards in your lookout zone. Your followers, the other players, or the other kids on the block, can also choose to take the public top action on the card that you just played by discarding a card of the matching suit. Players then draw a card from either the park row, park deck, or another player's yard, so sharing is caring. Additionally, any unplayed cards from your hand go into your yard face up for other players to take. As players compete to upgrade their fort, players can draw made-up rule cards and perk cards which provide extra abilities and ways to score victory points. Fort really evokes the feeling of spending time with good friends. I mean, who simply doesn't want to spend the holiday eating pizza, playing with their Christmas gifts, or even playing board games? The game Fort puts a twist on the regular deck building genre. In regular deck builders, you're usually buying or acquiring cards into your deck and then also trying to cut some cards out to try and hone and focus your deck on a particular strategy. Whereas in Fort, the cards that you don't use on your turn are placed up in the yard for potentially other players to take and use. This game almost feels like a shared group deck building game. And the actions that you take on your turn are going to have to be incredibly focused, and you need to prioritize what you really need to do now and see whether the actions that you're taking now are going to net you the most amount of victory points to try and get to that goal first. The deck that you're building is going to be ever changing and ever fluid. So you're going to have to prioritize what you think is most important. The game kind of feels like you're swapping playing cards in a school playground. Also, the follow and leader mechanic that is featured in the game is particularly interesting because the actions that your opponents take might be some of the actions that you might want to take and are applicable to the strategy that you're employing in your deck right now. So taking the public action by discarding a matching suit might mean that you can get your deck to focus and move a lot quicker on another player's turn, which is particularly interesting. So playing Fort feels like you're sitting on a glorified 4-person swing where the actions move around like some sort of raging river's rapid water slide. I think we've built the perfect board game Fort.
Oceans.
Ever tired of always walking in a cold winter wonderland each and every Christmas and ever wanted to visit somewhere that was a little bit more tropical, exotic and warm? Well, that alternative reality can remain a distant dream as you explore the world of Oceans. Oceans is a colourful species building game where players play traits to help their creatures adapt and survive to an ever-changing ecosystem.
Across a game of Oceans, players will be creating or adapting existing species by playing traits out onto the field. Each trait card has a unique ability that helps each creature to survive in some shape or form. Think of it as designing your own very special personalised bauble for your Christmas tree. By comboing different abilities together, players will forage from the reef, attack other species to gain population, as well as climb the food chain to survive and outlast the rest. After a sufficient amount of fish from the reef and ocean zones have been consumed, the Cambrian event will occur, allowing players to play more cards onto their creatures and age more quickly as well. Additionally, players will be able to play cards acquired from a unique deck of cards from the deep. These unique cards provides players with a vast array of different traits that can help boost and strengthen a player's playstyle. The player who has populated the most at the end of the game survives and wins.
About Oceans is that the card synergies and the strategies that are employed in this game are particularly powerful and interesting. There's an element of creativity and synergies that players can tap into, explore and exploit. The use of fish tokens to represent an aging species as its populations is unique. Being able to spend those fish tokens to play deep cards, a unique deck of trait cards that helps you to develop and hone and refine your playstyle and your creature's uniqueness is so amazing. The ocean is your oyster, as you can craft creatures in this game, be as creative as you want as you forage, or build a creature with really high defense, or even a predator that is sitting right at the top of the food chain. Oceans can unlock the opportunities for you, and it's one I definitely recommend. What's this? A gift for me? Oh, thanks, you shouldn't have. Oh, sharks. Can I see what's inside? Oh, what's this? Intriguing. Tentacled apex predator with parasitism? It's exactly what I wanted for Christmas.
The Crew, Quest for Planet 9.
The Crew, The Quest for Planet 9 is a fully cooperative trick-taking card game where players take on the role of Tom Hanks, an astronaut, as they embark on up to 50 missions to reach and thus discover Planet 9.
Across the game, players will take turns using these large playing cards to play a trick, and hopefully in the trick they will include the task cards that have been assigned to them. Each mission, players will be assigned a certain number of task cards to complete, some which might be required to be completed in a certain order or under certain conditions. To play a trick, the leading player plays a large card known as the leading card from their hand. The other players then follow by playing a card of their choice. If all the cards played match the leading card and are of the same colour as that card, the player who played the largest number in that colour wins the trick. If only some of the players play a card that matches the leading suit colour, then the player who played the highest card matching the leading suit colour wins the trick. If only one player plays a rocket card, which kind of acts like a trump card, they win that trick regardless of what the leading coloured card was. If multiple players play a rocket card, the player who played the highest rocket card wins the trick. In addition to all of this, players are not allowed to communicate except for this one method using a radio token that can be used once per mission. The position of the token indicates to the other players whether that numbered card is the highest number of that particular colour they have in their hand, the lowest number of that card of that colour in their hand, or it is the only card of that colour they have in their hand. If the entire crew can work together to complete each of their assigned tasks, then the group wins the mission.
The crew, the quest for Planet 9 is definitely worth exploring because each player is constantly questioning themselves about how they're going to win the trick that includes the task cards that are sitting in front of them, especially if they don't have those task cards in their hand. For example, having a coloured task card of a low numerical value might be tricky to get rid of if its conditions are not timed correctly. There is an internal tug of war, a struggle as you try to complete the tricks with your task cards, as well as helping your fellow crew members complete their task cards as well. I really love the campaign style approach, which increases exponentially in difficulty as you progress through the missions. This makes the game feel fresh and explorative each time. I hope these board game suggestions have been particularly helpful and have you jingling all the way like Arnold Schwarzenegger in that 1996 film. If you really like Christmas presents, then remember to like this video as well. If you want to share the Christmas love, then also share this video with your friends, family and loved ones. If you want to follow me 365 days a year, then definitely hit the subscribe button, and I look forward to sending you more Christmas presents in the form of really high quality board game videos in the near future. It's time to wrap it up. This is Danny signing out. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. See you later.